You're watching this on a YouTube account. That means you've agreed to the terms and services of YouTube, but do you actually know what you've signed up to? Like, do you really know? Have you gone in depth and read the terms of services? I would assume not, because who the hell does that? That's weird and stupid, and no one actually, pays attention to the terms and services. But today, I have taken it upon myself to read the terms and services for you. For all you know, you could have signed your human rights away to YouTube, and you don't know. One day you could be asleep in your bed and they just appear next to you and just strip you of your human rights and use you as a slave to create content for them and make money. Or even worse, you could have, signed your Fortnite account away. That's bad. So that's why I've taken it upon myself to read these terms and services for you people, and to give you the righteousness and justice you deserve. Welcome to YouTube. Introduction. Thank you for using the YouTube platform and the products, services and features we make available to you as part of the platform. Collectively, the service. Our service. This service allows you to discover, watch and share videos and other content. Provides a forum for people to connect, inform and inspire others across the globe. And acts as a distribution platform for original content creators and advertisers, large and small. We provide lots of information about our products and how to use them in our help center. Among other things, you can find about YouTube Kids, YouTube Partner Program, and YouTube paid memberships and purchases. You can also read about enjoying content on other devices, like your television, your game consoles, or even Google Home. Your service provider. The entity providing the service in the United Kingdom is Google LLC, located at 1600, I'm not going to even try to pronounce that, Parkway, Mountain View, CA 94043, USA, referred to as YouTube, we, us, or our. References to YouTube affiliates in those terms mean the other companies within the Alphabet Inc. corporate group. Applicable terms. Your use of the service is subject to these terms. The YouTube community guidelines and the policies save copyright policy. Together, the agreement. Your agreement with us will also include the advertisement of YouTube policies if you provide advertising or sponsorships in the servers, incorporate paid promotions in your content. Please read this agreement carefully and make sure you understand. If you don't understand the agreement or do not accept any part of it, then you may not use the service. Who may use the service? Age requirement. You may use the service if you're at least 13 years old. However, children of all ages use the service, and YouTube Kids, where available, enabling by a parent or a legal guardian. If you're under 18, you must have a parent or legal guardian permission to use the service. Please have them read this agreement with you. If you're a parent or legal guardian of a user under the age of 18, by allowing your child to use the service, you are subjected to the terms and agreement and responsibility for child's activity on the service. You can find tools and resources to help manage your family's experience on YouTube, including how to enable a child under the age of 13 to use the service and YouTube Kids in our help center and through Google's Family Link. Businesses. If you're using this service on behalf of a company or organization, you confirm to us that you have the authority to act on behalf of that entity, and that entity accepts this agreement. Your use of the service. Content on the service. Your use of the service. Content on the service. The content on the service includes video, audio, for example, music and other sounds. Graphics, photo, text such as comments and scripts. Branding including trade names, trademark, trade service marks or logos, interactive features, software, metrics, and other materials. Collectively, content. Content may be provided to service and distributed by our users, and YouTube is a provider of hosting services for such content. Content is the responsibility of the person or the entity that provides it to the service. If you see any content you believe that does not comply with these terms, such as violating the community guidelines or the law, you can report it to us. Google accounts and YouTube channels. You can use parts of the service such as browsing and searching for content without having a Google account. However, you do need a Google account to use some features. With a Google account, you may be able to like videos, subscribe to channels, create your own YouTube channel, and more. You can follow these instructions to create a Google account. Creating a YouTube channel will give you access to the additional features and functions such as uploading videos, making comments, or creating playlists. Here are some details about how to create your own YouTube channel. To protect your Google account, you keep the password confidential. You do not reuse your Google account password on third-party applications. Learn more about keeping your Google account secure, including what you do to what you do if you learn any unauthorized use of password or your Google account. Your information. Our privacy policy explains how we treat your personal data and protect your privacy. When you use a service, the YouTube Kids Privacy Notice provides additional information about our privacy practice that is specific to YouTube Kids. We will process any audio or individual or adversarial content uploaded by you to the service. In accordance with the YouTube Data Center, processing terms, except in cases where you upload such content for personal or household activities. Learn more. Permissions or restrictions. You may access and use the terms as available made to you. As long as you comply with this agreement and the law, you may view or listen to content for your personal non-commercial use. You may also show YouTube videos through the embedded YouTube player. The following restrictions apply to your use of the service. You're not allowed to access, reproduce, download, distribute, transmit, broadcast, display, sell, license, alter, modify, or otherwise use any part of the service content except a specifically permitted by the service. With prior written permission from YouTube, and if applicable, the prospective rights holder, or permitted by the applicable law, circumvent, disable, fraudulently engage, or otherwise interfere with the service or attempt to do any of these things, including security-related features or features that prevent or restrict the copying of other used content, limit the use of the service or content. Access the service using any automated means, such as robots, botnets, or scrapers, except in the case of public search engines in accordance with YouTube Robots TXT file with YouTube's prior written permission as permitted by acceptable law. Collect or use any information that might identify a person, for example, harvesting username or faces, unless permitted by that person or allowed under section 3 above. Use the service to distribute unsolicited promotional or commercial content, or otherwise unwanted or mass solicitations, spam, cause or encourage any inaccurate measures of genuine user engagement with the service, including by paying people or providing them with incentives to increase their videos' views, likes or dislikes, or to increase the channel subscribers or otherwise manipulate metrics. Misuse any reporting, flagging, complaint, distribute or appeals process, including making groundless, vexatious or frivolous submissions. Run contests on or through the service that did not comply with YouTube's contest policies and guidelines. Use the service to view or listen to content for other than personal, non-commercial use. For example, you may not publicly screen videos or stream music from the service. Use the service to sell advertising, sponsorships or promotions placed or on around within the service or content. Advertising, sponsorships or promotions on any page or of any website or applications that can application that only contains content from service, or where content from the service is primarily basis or such sales. For example, selling ads on a web page where YouTube videos are only content of value. Reservation. Any right not expressly granted to you in this agreement remains the right of YouTube, the respective right holders. This means, for example, using the service does not give you ownership of any intellectual property rights in the content you access, including any branding used on or service in the displayed in the service. Develop or improve and update the service. YouTube is consistently changing and improving the service. As such as issue evolution, we may make modifications or changes to part of the service, such as adding or removing features and functionalities, offering a new digital content or services, or discontinue old ones. We may need to alter or discontinue the service or any part of it in order to make performance or security improvements. Make change to comply with law or prevent illegal activities on or abuse of our systems. These changes may affect all users, some users, or even an individual user. When the service requires or includes download software such as YouTube Studio application, that software may update automatically on your device. Once a new version or feature is available, subject to your device settings. If we make materials changes that negatively impact your use of the service, or if we stop offering any part of the service, we'll provide you with reasonable advance notice, except in urgent situations, such as preventing abuse, responding to legal requirements, or addressing security and operability issues. We also provide you with an opportunity to exploit your content from your Google account using Google Takeout, subject to acceptable laws and policies. Your content and conduct. Uploading content. If you have a YouTube channel, you may be able to upload content to the service. You may use your content to promote your business or artist enterprise. If you choose to upload content, you must not submit to the service any content that does not comply with this agreement or the law. For example, the content you submit is not included in third-party intellectual property such as copyright materials unless you have the permission or from that party, otherwise legally entitled to do so. You are legally responsible for the content you submit to the service. We may use automated systems that analyze your content to help detect infringement and abuse, such as spam, malware, and illegal content. Rights you grant. To retain all of your ownership rights in the content, you retain all of your ownership rights in your content. In short, what begins to you stays yours. However, we do require you to grant certain rights to YouTube and other users to the service, such as described below. License to YouTube. By providing content to the service, you grant to YouTube a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free, transferable, solicitable license to use that content, including to reproduce, distribute, modify, displace, and perform it for the purpose of operating, promoting, and improving the service. License to other users. You also grant the other users of the service a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free license to access your content through the service and use that content, including reproduce, distribute, modify, display, and perform it. Only is enabled by a feature of YouTube. Duration of license. The license granted to you continue until the content is removed as described below. Once removed, the license will terminate, except where the operation of the service, use of content permitted before you remove before your removal or the law requires otherwise. For example, removal of content by you does not require YouTube a recalled content that is being used by other users within any limited offline viewing functionality of the service. Delete copies we reasonably need to keep for legal purposes. Right to monetize. You grant YouTube the right to monetize your content on the service, and such as monetization may include displaying ads or on or within content, or charging users a fee for access. This agreement does not entitle you to any payments. Starting June 1st, 2021, any payments you may be entitled to receive from YouTube under any other agreement between you and YouTube, including, for example, payments under the YouTube Partner Program, channel memberships, or Super Chat, will be treated as royalties. If required by law, Google will withhold taxes from such payments. Removing your content. You may remove your content from the service at any time. You also have the option to make a copy of your content before removing it. You must remove your content if you no longer have the rights required by these services. Removal of content by YouTube. If we reasonably believe any of your content is a breach of this agreement, we may cause harm to YouTube, our users, or third parties. We reserve the right to remove or take down some or all such as content. We will notify you with the reason for our actions unless we reasonably believe that to do so would violate the law or direction of legal enforcement authority, or otherwise risk legal liability for YouTube or our affiliates, would compromise an investigation or integrity or operation of the service, would cause harm to any user, other third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. You can learn more about reporting and enforcement, including how to appear the troubleshooting page of our help center. Community guideline strikes. YouTube operates as a system of strikes. In respect of content that violates the YouTube community guidelines, each strike comes with varying restrictions and may result in the permanent removal of your channel from YouTube. A full description of how a strike affects your channel is available on the YouTube community guidelines strikes basics page. If you believe that a strike has been issued in your area, you may appeal here. If your channel has been restricted due to a strike, you must not use another channel to circumvent these restrictions. Violation of this prohibition is a material breach of this agreement, and Google reserves the right to terminate your Google account or restrict or your access to all parts of the service. Copyright protection. We provide information to help copyright holders manage their intellectual property online. In our YouTube Copyright Center, if you believe your copyright has been infringed on the service, please send us a notice. We respond to notices or allegedly copyright infringement according to the process in our YouTube Copyright Center, where you can also find information about how to resolve a copyright strike. YouTube's policies provide for the termination in appropriate circumstances of repeat infringers' access to the service. Illegal or harmful content. We use various measures to protect you from illegal and other harmful content. To learn more about these measures and how to report content or make a complaint, visit our help center. Account suspension and terminations by you. You may stop using the service at any time. You can also delete the service from your account, which involves closing your YouTube channel and removing your data with the option to download a copy of your data first. Terminations and suspensions by YouTube. YouTube reserves the right to suspend or terminate your Google account or your access to all or part of the service. You materially or repeated branches agreement, we are required to do so to comply with the legal requirement or a court order. We reasonably believe that there has been conduct that creates liability or harm to any of the user, other third party, or YouTube or our affiliates. Notice for termination or suspension. We will notify you for the reason termination or suspension by YouTube unless we reasonably believe that to do so would violate the law or direction of legal or legal enforcement authority, would compromise an investigation, would compromise the integrity, operation, or security of the service, would cause harm to any other user, other third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. Effects of account suspension or termination. If your Google account is terminated or your access to the service is restricted, you may continue using certain aspects of the service, such as viewing only without an account, and this agreement will continue to apply to such use if you believe that the termination or suspensions has been made in error. You can appeal using this form. About software in our service. Downloadable software. When the service requires or includes downloadable software such as the YouTube Studio application, Unless that software is governed by additional terms which provide a license, YouTube gives you a personal, worldwide, royalty-free, non-assignable, non-agreement, non-exclusive license that to use the software provided to you by YouTube as part of the service. This license is permitted by this agreement. You're not allowed to copy, modify, distribute, sell, or lease any part of the software, or to reverse engineer or to attempt extract the source of code of the software, unless laws prohibit these restrictions or you have YouTube's written permission. Open source. Some software used in our services may be offered under an open source license. There may be provisions in open source license that expressly override some of these terms. If so, we'll make that open source license available to you. Other legal terms. Warranty. We provide the service with reasonable care and skill. Disclaimer. By law, consumers have a certain right that cannot be excluded or altered by a contract. Nothing in this agreement affects those rights you may have as a consumer. Other than expressly stated in this agreement or required by law, YouTube does not make any specific promises about the service. For example, we do not make any promises about the content provided through the services, features of the service, or accurately reliable availability or ability to meet your needs, or any content you submit will accessibly or stored on the service. Limitation of liability. All users, nothing in this agreement is intended to exclude or limit any party's liability for death or personal injury, fraudulent misrepresentation, or any liability that cannot be excluded by or limited by law. To the extent permitted by acceptable law, YouTube and its affiliates will not be responsible for losses that were caused by YouTube or its affiliates' breach of this agreement. Any loss or damage that was not at the time of this agreement was formed between you and YouTube, a reasonably foreseeable consequence of YouTube or its affiliates breaching this agreement, or the content submitted by any user, or for the defamatory offense or legal conduct of any user. Business users only. If you're using this service to purpose of your trades, business, craft, or profession, a business user, to extent permitted by applicable law, the following limitations and liability will also apply. YouTube and its affiliates are not really responsible for lost profits, revenues, data loss, opportunity or anticipated savings, indirect or consequential losses, or punitive damages. In all cases, whether such as losses were foreseeable or not, and YouTube and its affiliates total liability for any claims arising from or relating to the service is limited to the greater of the amount of revenue that YouTube has paid to you from your use of the service in the 12 months before the data or of your notice in writing to YouTube. The claim of £500, which is high, whichever is higher. Third-party links. Third-party links. The service may contain links to third-party websites and online services that are not owned or controlled by YouTube. YouTube has no control over and assumes no responsibility for such websites and online services. Be aware that when you leave the service, we suggest you read these terms and privacy. We suggest you read the terms and privacy policy of each third-party website and online service that you visit. About this agreement. Changing this agreement, we may change this agreement, for example, reflect changes to our service or how we do business. For example, when we add new products or features or remove old ones for legal regularity or secure reasons or to prevent abuse or harm. If we materially change this agreement, we'll provide you with the reasonable advantage advance notice and the opportunity to review the changes, except when we launch a new product or feature, or in urgent situations such as preventing ongoing abuse or responding to illegal requirements. If you don't agree to the new terms and service, you should remove any content you upload and stop using the service. Continuation of this agreement. If your use of the service ends, the following terms of this agreement will continue to apply to you. Other legal terms about this agreement and licenses granted by you will continue in limited cases as described under duration of license. Severance. If it turns out that a particular term from this agreement is not enforceable for any reason, this will not affect other terms. Assignment. YouTube may transfer all or part of this agreement to an affiliate, or if YouTube is sold to a third party. No waiver. If you do not comply with this agreement and we do not take action immediately, that doesn't mean we're giving up on any rights that we may have, such as the right to take action in the future. Governing law. If you live in this United Kingdom, this agreement and your relationship with YouTube under this agreement will be governed by the laws of your country. Residents and either party may bring legal proceedings, including for breaches of those terms, in your legal court. Effective as of March 17th, 2025. There you have it, folks. That is the entire YouTube terms and services. That took a while to read, but there you go. Now you know what happens.